go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Pilot go.
STM is go.
Safety console is go.
STU is go.
LRD is go. SRO is go.
CDI is go. Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
Today we're going to the Kennedy Space Center. T-minus
15
minutes.
I'll be ready in T-minus 5 minutes.
All vents open. Copy.
10. GLS is go for main engine start.
Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there. And new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Thank you.
You can see the whole garden from here. Did you learn anything?
Yeah, rockets are propelled by liquid nitrogen and, no, liquid oxygen. I don't know. I have to look at it. Apparently I didn't learn shit.
This is the countdown clock from the press site, and it was built in 1969. They've moved it over to the Visitor Space Center for everyone to see up close now. And they did that in 2014. Look at this astronaut, or the spacesuit.
What do I do?
Just hold it. It's filming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Living in America.
Wow, it's the rover made out of Legos. The Mars rover.
That's restricted.
I have access.
You can't go that way.
I have special access. I'm actually an astronaut.
Look at this thing, that's cool. It weighs 9 tons and it's being held up by water.
Let's go check out Space Shuttle Atlantis.
Oh yeah, this is what I was talking about. Everything's kind of separated into different missions at the Kennedy Space Center. And this is where we're gonna go see the Atlantis Space Shuttle. The Atlantis in person, close up.
Just a few minutes, the door will open, and you will enter into a 12-minute presentation.
First, let's talk about the launch. We have never designed engines and vehicles that can be reused. But we will, and once we're in orbit, we go to work. We want to take all kinds of cargo up there in addition to the people. Science labs, satellites, even a space station.
Endeavour Houston, we see a nominal beacon, Holmes 1 not required. Welcome to space.
That was amazing. We watched a really cool presentation and then you walk through the screen and the shuttle's right in front of you. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched in 1990 from the Space Shuttle Discovery.
This is the remote manipulator arm. The Hubble was in the bay, it picked it out, and they're going 17.5, so they let go and it had the orbital speed.
They have the Hubble Space Telescope right here next to the shuttle. The Hubble Space Telescope has the pointing accuracy of 0.007 arc seconds, which is like being able to shine a laser beam on President Roosevelt's head on a dime about 200 miles away. This is the PicoSat, the last satellite of the Space Shuttle era, and it was the 180th and final satellite launched by a space shuttle. It was a really tiny satellite. This one was launched for the US Department of Defense. The International Space Station is larger than a 6-bedroom house. It has the internal volume of a 747. It weighs almost 1 million pounds, which is like 320 cars. And it travels an equivalent distance to the moon and back in about a day. All right, got a little workout.
Yeah.
You ready for the space station? This is the slide that they would slide down when they would land off the shuttle.
I'll definitely do that.
So I've made my way downstairs and I'm now directly underneath the Atlantis shuttle. And there's just a whole museum of stuff down here. It is unbelievable. You could spend hours just in this building. Wonder how much this Airstream's going for.
That's called the Astro Van.
The launch site was miles away. This is the van they would ride in out to the launch. And this is right below the Hubble Space Telescope. We have another telescope right here. In reality, it's about the size of a tennis court. This is like the next version of the Hubble, and it's going to be 100 times more powerful. It's expected to launch in 2020. This was the original prototype for the shuttle. The idea was for it to launch like a spacecraft and land like a plane. The space shuttle tires are filled with nitrogen. They were designed to go from -40 degrees Fahrenheit in space to 130 degrees Fahrenheit on landing in a matter of minutes. NASA flew 2 modified Boeing 747 jetliners as space shuttle carrier aircraft. Here's a model of the system design to attach the shuttle on top of the 747. Why are some spacesuits orange? For safety. Orange stands out really well on a search and rescue mission, especially in the ocean. This is where they would sleep. Zip themselves up in the bag so that they wouldn't float around.
You know, it was the 90s when they had a portable CD player and a tape recorder.
We also have a little memorial museum behind me with the Challenger and the Columbia. Oh no, this is a minimalist's worst nightmare. How can you not buy anything from this gift shop? They've got everything in here from ornaments to space food. Ooh, freeze-dried ice cream. Gotta get some of this. Time to eat some lunch in the Rocket Garden Cafe. I just need some coffee. Stop throwing away plastic in the trash. That is ridiculous. For those of you who are especially interested in all this, definitely skip the regular bus transport and take the special interest bus tour.
We're gonna go do a special mission. Special mission for special interest.
You all signed up for our 120 Explorer Tour. What does that mean? We are going to show you all 140,000 acres of the Kennedy Space Center. The tour is going to take approximately 2.5 days. Okay, so back to reality. Just under 2 hours, tour of the Space Center with 3 photo stops.
Right now we're headed over the NASA Causeway, a bridge over the Banana River to Cape Canaveral. We can't go all the way to the Cape, but we will see a few of the launch sites. That's Launch Complex 37, home of the Delta IV Heavy. This is the world's biggest rocket. United Launch Alliance is launching a probe for NASA, and it's going to the sun. Planned to launch August 4th, it's going to study the sun for a 7-year period. How do you keep it from being pulled into the gravity of the sun? Speed. This will be the fastest moving object ever to be launched by man. How fast is fast? 120 miles per second.
4,000 people used to come here and watch launches. When the water was calm, you could see the sound ripples, then fish jumping out of the water.
I'm gonna get some shots from across the water here so you can see some of these things close up with a long lens. This is Launch Complex 41, where they launched the Atlas V rocket. The Boeing company is developing its CST-100 Starliner capsule for launch with an Atlas V rocket. That gray tower is how the astronauts will get to the capsule. This is Launch Complex 40. This is where SpaceX launched their first Falcon 9 rocket 10 years ago. And this is where they're gonna launch their Falcon 9 rocket carrying a Dragon, which is a spacecraft, to the International Space Station. This will be SpaceX's 15th time doing it under contract for NASA. They have 21 bald eagles nests out here on property. The eagles this year had 2 baby eaglets. The question for next year, when they come back in September, is will they go back to the nest? Will the trees still be standing? This tall gray tower is going to support the new NASA rocket, the Space Launch System, SLS. It's called a mobile launcher, and it's reminiscent of the Apollo launchers. What do they use to move it? These crawler transporters. These are what carried the moon rocket out to the launch pad and later the space shuttle. One of them will carry NASA's new big rocket. They weigh 6 million pounds. Top speed when they're carrying something, almost a mile per hour. What did it carry back in the Apollo and Shuttle days? One of the 3 mobile launch platforms. Apollo 13 took off from this platform, and the Columbia and the Atlantis. The crawler will drive underneath it and lift it all up. It lifts over 8 million pounds. This mobile launcher, from the top to the ground, is 400 feet, and they've been working on it for 9 years. Here you can see some of the tractor tread marks from the crawler transporter. This is the road that it uses. It starts with a layer of river rock. Underneath it, 4 feet of limestone. Underneath that, 4 feet of compressed sand. This is the Launch Control Center. This is where you see the men and women do the countdown for the launch. Once the vehicle clears the tower, Mission Control in Houston takes over. And this is where the astronauts' families, their immediate families, would watch the launch, is on top of the roof. We're driving right along the route that all those astronauts took to get out to the launch pad. Over 320 individuals from 17 different countries made this ride. This is potentially where the next astronaut from American soil will launch from, on top of a crewed Dragon. And they've been doing a lot of modification out here to get it ready. Inside this hangar, 3 rockets, 2 of them used. Right now they can reuse the first stage of their rockets. This gray tower is left over from the shuttle program. It's topped off with a white lightning mass. You can see cables going from the tower down to the ground to ground the numerous lightning strikes they have out here all summer. The water coming from the water tower helps to cool it all off and reduce the sound. Launch Complex 41, potentially the other place where the next astronaut may launch from American soil. Today there's a space race going on. The space race is between Boeing and SpaceX to be the first commercial company to send astronauts to the space station. You can see the big hydrogen fuel tank and the assembly building way back there in the backdrop. This is another place we stopped on the tour. This white building here is a camera to help track the launches. What do you think of when you look up at the sky?
When I look at the sky, I think of how small and insignificant we are in comparison to infinity of what we know.
I see thousands of years before us and after us, the past, present, and future all at once. Not just infinite space, but infinite time. This October of 2018 will be the 60th anniversary of NASA. Here we have the Vehicle Assembly Building. This was originally built to accommodate the vehicle assembly for the Apollo and Saturn missions, then underwent renovations to support the space shuttle. This building is also home to the largest American flag. It's 209 feet tall. Following the shuttle's retirement in 2011, it was modified to handle the assembly of the Space Launch System, which will be NASA's new Orion spacecraft. This is a model of it scaled down, and this is going to go 0 to 500 miles per hour in 3 seconds. There's like a space race between Boeing and SpaceX right now.
Correct. They're both trying to get astronauts into space by 2020. Ironically, their buildings are right next door to each other.
So we just got off the bus from a special interest tour, and definitely worth the extra money. It is incredible. We got to go up close to launch sites, the assembly building, and just learned so much about them. We had an excellent tour guide. And now they dropped us off at the Apollo and Saturn V Rocket Center. The general bus would just take you here, but you would miss all that amazing stuff. So now we're gonna go check out this museum.
That's one small step for man, Mark, Diane, please, for mankind.
Just got off the bus and now we're in the museum for the Saturn V rocket, the Apollo missions, and they're in different stages up here. The earlier shuttle flights had fewer crew members, so they used the Apollo-era astronaut transport van. These are the actual pieces of the Saturn V rocket. This is a model right here showing the inside of it. The service module provided the command module with essential supplies like oxygen, water, fuel, and electricity. Up here we have the lunar module, and this was taken by astronauts David Scott and James Irwin to the surface of the moon. This is the Apollo Lunar Roving Vehicle. It was transported in pieces and assembled once on the moon. It could travel about 16 miles in 3.5 hours. Here's a tool cart engineered for the moon. A space suit, space helmet, some moon boots. This is one of the things I've been really looking forward to seeing. This is a Apollo capsule from Apollo 14. This is the capsule where Alan Shepard and Stuart Roosa made their lunar landing in 1971, where Apollo 13 was supposed to land. This is a lunar sample from Apollo 17. It's a basalt sample estimated to be 3.7 billion years old. Spacesuit maintenance kit, sample bag dispenser, activation checklist for the Apollo lunar module. These are hand casts. They had to get their hands molded for custom-made spacesuits. This is the Apollo 7 flight plan from 1968. This is all stuff. You were just never able to see this close up until now. What do you want to do now?
Go eat ice cream, astronaut ice cream.
We're going to take the bus back. Couple goals?
Couple goals.
Not just couple goals, but old couple goals. Another gift shop. There are no lack of these. There's probably 4 or 5 gift shops around. We've been avoiding buying anything until we leave. So we were just on the moon. We'll go back to Earth now. I kind of need some more coffee.
And water.
So that special interest bus tour made my day. Got to get really up close to some sites that you would not see without a pretty small additional fee. We're gonna get some space ice cream.
Yay! Found the banana split space dots. Can I do the banana split, the smaller one? What are you gonna want?
Coffee.
Oh, and a coffee, please. This is banana, strawberry, and chocolate.
These were taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. Looks like a fuzzy tennis ball. 3 years ago, next month, NASA sent a spacecraft by Pluto and took some of these images. Now, this was in color, it'd be a reddish hue. How long did it take that spacecraft to reach that planet? 9.5 years. 2 months ago, NASA launched a spacecraft on top of a SpaceX rocket. That spacecraft is going to be looking for more planets around other stars. And they are estimating they will find over 20,000 additional planets.
The theater is coming to a close. We're wrapping up our experience at the Kennedy Space Center. We did a lot today.
Space.
You want to see if we can go in? So this is the Mars Museum, teaching you all about where we're at with the Mars program, what's going to happen, and plans for living on Mars and inhabiting it. Here's the Mars rover. Almost went to space, but didn't have enough money. So we got as close as we could. Now it's time to go eat.
We have money for cocktails.
Yeah, we do have money for food and wine, so that's good.
On Earth.
And I like Earth. We did not go into the Nature and Technology building,
yeah,
but that's okay.
Actually looks cool.
You want to go in there real quick?
Real quick, yeah.
Okay.
This is important for people who are visiting Florida because they need to know how to treat our area since they're not familiar with it.
Yeah, like not throwing plastic water bottles away in the trash like I found earlier. Those are the people that we're gonna send to Mars. All the people who litter to Mars first, just to make sure that they can survive there.
The slide was probably one of my favorite parts.
It looks like you went really fast.
I was going super fast, like supersonic speed slide.
Let's see if we can find the car.
I have have no idea where the car is.
It's back the other way.
You know I'm the worst at directions. Oh, I see it.
Show us the merch you got.
Yeah, got the t-shirt, the magnet for the fridge, this amazing mug.
Thank you, Vanna.
$7.99.